Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
It's just too early to make decisions. But I have to decide on breakfast. So I go to Burger King and get a flaky croissant sandwich, hash browns and coffee for just $1.99. But then, do I get it to stay or to go?
Breakfast at Burger King.
So you talked about your least favorite year, both you and I, of the decade. Do you have a favorite year or a couple favorite years?
Well, it's not 93 because that's when I moved to Ohio. It just wasn't a great year for me. I'm sure a lot of cool shit happened. Um, I mean, I always go to 90 because it's the beginning of the decade. I got Ninja Turtles, which is really one of the penultimate things in my life. I think I also got Ace Ventura that same year, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, not 1990. That was 93. So yeah, I guess I don't know. It sucks because I moved in 93 and I feel like a lot of cool ass shit that I love happened then, like Jurassic Park possibly, Ace Ventura possibly.
Ace Ventura was 94. That 94 was the year of Jim Carrey.
Okay. Well, man, it's tough. I don't know. What about you? Let me think about it.
I get it, man. When you're relocating and trying to transition to it and get situated at a new place, like those years are always hard. That's why I didn't care for the even years. The odd years, it would be my second go round at my new location. Like
Yeah.
93 was my second year in Columbus. 95 was my second year in Toledo. 97 was my second year in Perrysburg. And it's got to be an odd year. And I'm real partial to 95 and 97. My first year in junior high and my first year in high school. Just scorching hot, coming off of the Ready to or Life After Death double album of Biggie in 97, the Wu-Tang double album, I believe Bone. No, their double album was 98, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But just going into high school and, like looking forward to being on the hoop team and just seeing like older chicks and shit wearing skirts and oh man, they can drive too and they're hot. Oh man. And then 95, it was kind of the same deal. Like, my school has lockers now. I'm like the kids I saw on the TV show.
Oh,
Like I go,
big.
yeah, I'm big now. I could put my books in a locker in between classes and a bell will ring and then I go to another class. Everything isn't all in the same class with the same teacher. So 95, 97 for me.
Man, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go late 90s just because I was feeling myself late in high school. I mean, I might have been a chubby kid, but I had a lot, I was doing good. I mean, 99 was pretty crucial. There was probably a lot of cool shit. Plus, we were worried the world was gonna end, So possibly had seen a naked titty in that time. Maybe
In real life?
in real, no, no, not 99, but in definitely virtually or on video, I definitely seen that. And I feel like, a young Matt was coming into his own in 99. So I guess in terms of favorites, if it ain't 90 with the Ninja Turtles and the classic, my usual go-to, I'm going late because, like I said, I was starting to just feel I had maybe I'd even lost the bowl cut at this point, so I was just on fire, Steve.
But you said that 99 was your least favorite year because it was the end of the decade. I hate to put you
But
on the
now that
spot,
I
but
know, but I'm just thinking I'm putting instead of like the shows and shit, I'm thinking my actual mentality and middle of the year, me moving and stuff, late into the 90s, maybe 98. Let's say 98, because maybe I wasn't scared I was gonna die. Still feeling myself, still very much in high school,
we're
and
sophomores.
wasn't crushed by just like complete fear and anxiety yet. I still had a little bit of that childhood, just like joy in my life still. So I'm gonna go 98, Steve.
98. Out of the even years, I didn't mind 98. The Attitude Era is alive and well. The Stone Cold Era is alive and well. The Rock, people are coming around to him. I mean, in WCW, they're still doing their thing for now. For now, they got a little action,
They're
but
still
I
there.
was more I was more tuned into USA. You know, my thumb was getting heavier around this point. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
let's go back and
Did
see what
Hogan
Vince is
have the
doing.
Acolyte or whatever, the Disciple? Was he in this era? Because
He's
if
always
that's
had the Disciple. He's
okay,
always had him.
he was there at the beginning of NWO period, the Disciple.
At the very beginning, it was the 3-piece, but like Brutus the Barber, he like was one of the first like extra add-ons to NWO, and then like that was always the thing. Whenever you saw Hollywood, you would see the Disciple, Brother Brutai.
Really?
Yeah,
That was wait. Hold on, Steve. Rewind. So the Disciple, the guy that looks like a fake Hollywood Hogan,
that's Brother
beard.
Brutai.
That's Brutus the Barb.
Yeah,
Sans damn. Well, there you go, Steve. Mind blown. I didn't know that. I didn't fucking know that.
at this point, I thought it was common knowledge, man.
I
I don't
thought
know.
you were just saying Brother Brutai around when we were talking about NWO. Just you were just throwing it out there, just as like wrestling shit. Not that's the guy. Damn, Hogan, you had to make Brutus the Barber look exactly like you, like some Liberace shit.
He didn't have to. He probably like,
What
bro.
the fuck?
They're besties, man. You know, Hogan keeps that man employed. It's because of Hogan that Brutus was even sticking around to be a barber.
Yeah, I guess if you're getting a check, you got to do what you got to do. Damn, Steve. Brutus the Barber just out there like that, just Hogan cloning himself. That's wow, mind blown. There you go. I did not know that. I'm speechless almost. I'm scared
Yeah.
now.
Shit, if your bestie is the GOAT, shit, you can keep collecting checks. Simple as that.
Hell yeah, dude. Shout out to Brutus the Barber. What's he look like now?
And
Is he still
he's
alive?
still
Wait, is he still alive?
still
Am I a
he's still
dick?
he's alive. He was in that Marty Jannetty Dark Side. I think that was their season finale, but he was on there. They talked about the whole barbershop deal with him and Sean, but he still looks the same in the face. You know, he's chubbier, still got big arms. He's got that mullet like it's
But he still
87.
got the hair? Nice.
Yeah,
Does he got the scissors, Steve?
shit. He's
Some
not
yard
using them
clippers.
clearly.
Get the man some yard shears or something. You got it. You can't just have that guy naked without any fucking scissors.
You can't have him out here with a mullet like that, man.
Albert Brooks, Charles Grodin, a dead horse, and a guy on a speakerphone.
Would it be so bad to have Neil Diamond sitting at a meeting like this?
See the movie that inspired the real world and probably even Star Wars. Watch Real Life this Sunday at 8.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your bonkers bubble gum and your berry kicks, because I want to lick you from your head to your toe. Then I want to move from the bed down to the floor. Then I want to, you think it's so good, I don't want to leave, but I want to know what's your fantasy.
Luda!
It's my only opportunity.
Hell yeah. But what an opportunity, Steve. We're fucking Luda aficionados.
Chris Bridges, thank you.
Love it. Welcome everybody. Steve, 133 in full effect.
Yeah, it's like Goldberg streak. Who's keeping count at this point?
I'm just happy to be here, honestly, but I don't know. We foreshadowed this in previous episodes, and I'm just excited that just out of opportunity, we pulled a show. I would never have picked this just looking at a name, but I'm so happy, Steve. I love it.
Like Jesse Spano, just so excited. And it's rare that we go back to back with a sitcom or anything. We don't even go back to back with wrestling, I don't think. But I mean, this
Blossom?
Yeah. In
Blossom?
my opinion, Nation, yeah, we had to cover this.
Whoa.
But today, my friend, we're talking all things August 17th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, The Exorcist 3 premieres. A police lieutenant uncovers more than he bargained for as his investigation of a series of murders, which have all the hallmarks of a deceased Gemini serial killer, leads him to question the patients of a psychiatric ward. Directed by William Peter Blatty, starring George C. Scott, Ed Flanders, Jason Miller, Scott Wilson, Nicole Williamson, and Brad Dourif.
I mean, this this shit's scary, Steve. If The Exorcist 1 didn't scare you, I don't even really I don't remember 2. 3 though, let me tell you something. Prepare yourself for 5 seconds of a nurse with giant pair of scissors, you'll shit your pants. Even if that's all you get from this movie, uh this is a fucking scary fucking flick. It's got George C. Scott. He's fucking pissed.
He's like a cross between George Steinbrenner and Robert Englund.
He just he's it's fucking Patton, Steve. You got to put some respect
Patton.
on it. But motherfucking dude, he's basically angry at demonic people or presences in this movie. You know, he's too old for this shit. He's got that
Basically.
energy. But this is like a solid fucking, you know, I don't know what the general consensus is. My personal experience on this is watching this coming down from mushrooms in the dorms, being caught off guard by how intense and scary the movie actually is, possibly aided by the mushrooms. But me, Jordan, and possibly somebody else were terrified watching this movie. And I think this is a solid sequel to this franchise. I do like The Exorcist.
It wasn't bad. And the voice and likeness, I guess, in a way, of Chucky of Child's Play, Brad Dourif, he's in it. And he played a psychopath. He's basically the Gemini killer.
Yeah.
He held it down, man. I was convinced there's a lot of cringe in his parts, especially when you get towards the latter half of the movie. There's also an old nurse who has superhuman strength that just knocks the fuck out of George C. Scott, like Debo.
She will cut you in half, Steve.
Yeah.
The intensity of the scenes, like there's near the end, whenever they're in like the padded cell, I don't remember Fabio, but I remember George C. Like somebody just being like pushed against the wall. There's a lot of screaming. I mean, this movie, like maybe it's because my personal like fear, but these sort of exorcism, demonic possession movies always fucked with me. I don't know if it's because the first Exorcist I saw way too young and it stuck in my head. But if you want to shit yourself, yeah, you're going to be lulled to sleep because you're going to go, man, this is kind of boring. I'm into it. And then this bitch with some big ass scissors is just going to come out of nowhere and you're going to be fucking scared as fuck for the rest of the movie.
Maybe you drink dairy before bedtime.
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't. But George C. Scott's a beast in it. Is Fabio in this, Steve? Because you're showing him and I'm confused.
Yeah. It's a blink if you missed it. Dream sequence that has Fabio in it. It has Patrick Ewing because this is set in Georgetown, I believe, Georgetown University, or it's Georgetown something. So John Thompson, R.I.P., the legendary basketball coach.
Okay.
He has a small cameo, unrelated, but Larry King has a cameo. Samuel L. Jackson, he's a part of this dream sequence. And it's the Goodfellas Samuel L. Jackson, where he had the patchy before he cut it all the way bald. This is early 90s. You know what I'm talking about. When he had the George Jefferson, like, you know, coming to America, Robin McDowell's kind of deal. Yeah, he's a part of this dream sequence. Patrick Ewing, Samuel Jackson, and Fabio with a motley crew.
Yeah, I definitely blocked that part of it out. But, you know, in the middle of all the insanity you see in this movie, a nice Fabio, it's going to calm you. It's going to just calm you down a little bit. And I like that.
Yeah, all orientations aside, he's a beautiful man.
I mean, look at that guy, dude. I can't believe it's not Butter, Steve. That's really what I'm astonished by. Is he? I wonder what a Fabio now looks like. You know, is it still holding together, you think?
He probably looks like Brother Brutai.
No.
I don't know.
He probably, honestly, Steve, Fabio's probably looking great. It's Fabio. He's probably dicking down some like 40-year-old chick right now, just in Greece. For some reason, I feel like he's in Greece. I don't know. It's Fabio.
He's no Yanni, but hey, I digress.
Nobody is.
And you talked about nurses. Miss Tyra Farrell, hey girl, I know you watching. She plays a small cameo with her fine self.
All in Exorcist 3. I don't understand this. I don't know where I missed that. I remember being horrified. Again, probably because of the mushrooms I was on, but yeah, man. I feel like you could really fuck this up, and I think they've made a considerable amount of like Exorcist sequels. This
Way too
one
many.
though is a solid one. So check this one out.
Was
2, I don't even you can ignore that one, but
available on Tubi. And also in 1990, My Blue Heaven premieres. An all too uptight FBI agent must protect a larger than life mobster with a heart of gold, currently under witness protection in the suburbs. Directed by Herbert Ross, starring Steve Martin, Rick Moranis, Joan Cusack, and Daniel Stoyan.
Daniel Stern, hell yeah. Bushwhacked.
Yeah, he plays the ex-husband of Joan Cusack. And as you would imagine, Steve Moranis plays the uptight FBI agent, and Steve Martin, he's the ex-mobster that went into witness protection. And he just, this shit is boring. This life, he can't do it. I want to get back in the mix. And he causes a ruckus. He makes life harder for himself than it's supposed to be. But unbeknownst to him, where they placed him, he's amongst other former mobsters, other snitches, and they just have a powwow, a good old reunion, catch up. Yeah, you snitch, I'm a rat too. It's good to see you're still alive. But of course, it's unrealistic, like a lot of the early 90s stuff that we talk about, man, because he's just putting himself out there. He's going to the grocery store, he's going to little league games, he wants to fund a new little league park and whatnot. And this is loosely based on Henry Hill, and he didn't like it because he knew it was loosely based on his life. It's like, Henry Hill, don't you have other things to worry about? But
I think
I
that
digress.
guy just is an asshole, but yeah, I remember. Doesn't Martin have like a wacky haircut in this too?
He sure the fuck
Yeah,
does.
hell yeah. Okay, yeah, I remember this.
And our guy Kevin Nash, Big Daddy Cool, one of his early characters was Vinny Vegas, and it was based off of this Steve Martin character. That's why Vinny Vegas, if you ever see a clip or a photo, he's got that same kind of haircut.
Hell yeah, Big Sexy taking the torch. Yeah, this was a rental, like a library rental with my family for sure. Because it's a Steve Martin joint in the '90s. He could do no wrong. I mean, he still can do no wrong, but
It's like Eddie in the 80s, man. And this is the third co-op between him and Moranis, man. They were also in Little Shop of Horrors and Parenthood. They had a thing going on, man. It's that same dynamic of the little dorky guy and the more hip, looser, cooler counterpart. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, damn dude, Steve Martin back. He was a tour de force back for decades, really. But
Literally.
man, that's crazy. I forgot about these little like this. I definitely forgot about this, but I forgot he was in Little Shop of Horrors. I mean, that's not one of my favorite movies, but it is a good movie.
He was the dentist. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And also in 1990, Taking Care of Business premieres. An uptight advertising exec has his entire life in a Filofax organizer that mistakenly ends up in the hands of a friendly convict who poses as him. Directed by Arthur Hiller, starring James Belushi, Charles Grodin, Ann DeSalvo, Mako, Veronica Hamill, and Hector Alonso.
Mako.
Elizondo. Is it Mako or Mako?
I don't know. How's it spelled?
Mako. Like, you've seen him in other things.
Mako, like the shark,
Mako?
Steve. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Go with it.
And you know what, Matt? It's funny that this came out the same day as My Blue Heaven, because I shit you not, it's the exact same fucking premise. Just
No.
just substitute, just take away the mobster shit. Like
Yeah.
Charles Grodin, he's basically the Rick Moranis guy. He's uptight. I'm corporate. I gotta go to the office and James Belushi. He's a escaped convict, and he's the Steve Martin guy. And he comes across his Filofax, and he basically takes his identity. He fucks up some business while Charles Grodin is looking like a bum from Skid Row. And it's funny that this is the exact same shit. The uptight guy and the loose, hey man, you need to loosen up, man. And
I mean, how many stills of a movie that Charles Grodin has been in look exactly like the one behind you, where he looks absolutely insane? He's always screaming
Beethoven.
into a phone or like stomping out of a room, pissed off or insane. And it's hilarious though that they literally were like, you know what, Steve Martin's doing this. Fuck it, Charles, you got this. You're better than he is.
It's such a common formula, it's just it's been done in so many different ways, man. It's just ironic that both of those movies came out on the same day. And there's also a
Whoa.
skit towards the end where James Belushi is supposed to be his character's mother, and she wants to see her boy because he has to play both sides, I guess. He's out, he's escaped, and everybody's looking for him. And his big thing is like, I want to see the Cubs in the World Series. So he calls in from jail for this sweepstakes on the radio. He wins the tickets, and Hector Elizondo, who's like the warden or oversees the wardens, he's like, "Come on, guy! Like, man, the Cubs are in the World Series. Can you just let me out for a couple days, man?" He's like, "Well, you know what? If you get a hole in one in this putt in my office, then you get free tickets." He doesn't get
I
it.
love that. That's the
I do
same
too.
energy of White Men Can't Jump, where it's like, make a full court hook shot, and then I'll look away as you break 5 laws. Fuck it. I love that. Well,
Yeah,
I'm assuming, Steve, he makes the putt.
he doesn't, but he
Oh,
has this very Little Rascals-esque plot. And it involves two black TV dads, ironically, Ken Foree, who was the dad in Kenan and Kel, and the dad from Smart Guy, who's John Marshall Jones. And they're both convicts along with them. And all the convicts with James Belushi, they're so concerned. They're doing whatever they can to make sure that this guy lives his dream and sees the Cubs in the World Series.
you
And
gotta
like,
do it for him, man.
don't y'all have bigger shit to worry about? Man, we got to do whatever we can to help him escape and
Man,
see
he
the
needs a
Cubs.
good day, man. He just needs one good day, you
He
know?
deserves it.
He's a good guy. I love that. Yeah. What thoughtful fucking convicts, Steve. These are nice guys.
Very, right? It's just like it's movies like this that just it's simplified jail for me as a kid. Like it's very Mayberry. It made it seem like you could just go into jail and pull some Bayside High tactics and just get over on the warden. Like, hey, you know what, man? Freddy's locked up, man. I'm gonna stop by and see if he wants a sandwich. Like it was that simple. But I'm gonna go in the cell with him and have a chat with him, a one-on-one. Like you could really do that. It's shit like this that made it seem like jail. Like,
Yeah, man. You're cooking
go.
spaghetti with the boys. You're fucking getting in dresses, getting snuck out. Maybe I have to get in a sewer to get out, but I'll get out. It can't be that hard, right?
I'll stop by and see Johnny, see if he wants a slush or something. I haven't talked to him in a couple weeks. Like,
I'll just...
no, bro, don't work like that. But as a kid, I thought it worked like that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I'd just immediately just fold. I think I could think of a good plot, like something, like some hustle, Steve. But yeah, I don't know. Kent Foree, I feel like I'd be intimidated. Smart Guy's dad, I'll stomp that dude in the fucking ground.
And he's hilarious in this, man. He doesn't have too many parts, but just like he kind of like Bubba Gump because he's got his mouth like this, and I guess he has to play like a stupid convict. This was the first film written by J.J. Abrams. Fun fact.
Wow, that's weird.
And because James Belushi took identities with a corporate guy or whatever, he's having this power lunch and he's talking to one of the execs of the other business. He's like, "I'm out of here. Nice tits." And so Mako, the Japanese guy, he follows him because he's kind of liking James Belushi swag. He's like, "I'm out of here also. Nice titties." That part had me, man. Nice titties.
I like that.
But That's all I got. Also in 1990, Wild at Heart premieres. Young lovers Sailor and Lula run from the variety of weirdos that Lula's mom has hired to kill Sailor. Directed by David Lynch, starring Nicolas Cage, Laura Dern, Willem Dafoe, Crispin Glover, Diane Ladd, Isabella Rossellini, and Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, I mean, I think as anybody who's seen a David Lynch movie expects, this gets weird. It's got Nicolas Cage, so you're already there. But the thing that I remember, I've seen this maybe like twice, is Willem Dafoe's disgusting yuck mouth. He has a disgusting teeth situation in this. I don't remember what he's playing the villain, I think, or a villain in this.
A
And
villain, yeah.
yeah, and it's just a weird fucking like love story. It's like True Romance on like some kind of twisted like acid trip thing with David Lynch weirdness in it. I don't remember Crispin Glover, but I'm sure he's fucking weird in it.
Oh man, Crispin Glover. Oh man, you're gonna love this. He plays a guy named Dell who puts cockroaches up his butt until one day he suddenly disappears. And what a role for Crispin Glover. I think they wrote that with him in mind. And Laura Dern does show them teeters. And what I didn't know is that she's actually Diane Ladd's daughter. So Diane Ladd, she's got the hots for Nicolas Cage, but from the outside looking in, she's telling everybody she doesn't want her daughter seeing him. She wants him killed. She's sending out hitmen. Harry Dean Stanton is one of the hitmen, and Harry Dean Stanton kind of reminds me of one of those Looney Tunes tortoises. Like that kind of tortoise, like
Yeah, hell yeah.
like a tortoise with hair, no
Yeah.
pun intended. But yeah, man, Nicolas Cage had an opportunity to get some daughter mother action. Laura in real life, Laura Dern and Diane Ladd, because she's like tracking him down in the restroom and she wants to get bust down in the fucking stall.
It's
And
Nick
he's like,
Cage,
no,
Steve.
I'm in love with your daughter. I don't know. I can't do it.
And it's just bizarre. It's a road trip. They're running. Like you said, it's like her mom wants to, I mean, in the description, wants to kill him. She's sending it, like you said, assassins. But there's a weird style to this. Um, David Lynch isn't like on top 10 directors on my list, but if you like him, you will love this fucking movie because it's bizarre as fuck.
It's very David Lynch. Somebody who probably didn't watch Wild at Heart is probably American actress and singer Pearl Bailey, born in 1918.
1918. Damn, I thought I was old. Damn.
Yeah,
Pearl.
man. Here she is with Floyd from Electric Mayhem, and she received a Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1988. She was the first African American to receive the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award in 1976, a special Tony Award for her title role in the all-black production of Hello Dolly, Daytime Emmy Award for her performance as a fairy godmother in an
Damn.
ABC After School special. So shout out to that sister, man. She made it to the ripe old age of 72.
Hell yeah. I may have fucking collected a lot of awards too.
But
And some checks,
19
hopefully.
oh yeah, run that bag. In 1991, August 17th, the final episode of A Pup Named Scooby Dooby, Scooby Dooby, Scooby Dooby.
This was a lead into the good Saturday morning cartoons, I feel like, Steve, if I remember right, because I watched it, but I feel like this was right at the beginning of the day. You were still getting the cereal going, you were getting ready for, man, I'm trying to think what was the lead, what this led into, but this was, I'm not a huge Scooby fan, but if I have to, this was good. I liked this as a kid.
I fucked with this, and I fucked with the Flintstone kids too. This was an ABC show, and if I had to rank them when it came to Saturday morning, I think I would tune in more to ABC because they had those little bumpers that were cool. After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell
That was
yeah.
ABC.
What was on ABC though, other than this? Like, what were we looking at Saturday morning wise? What was the joints?
Fuck Mary Kill. You caught me off guard, Matt.
Well, I'm
I
sorry.
think
Sometimes you ask questions, Steve, that you shouldn't. But I feel you. I think I was a Fox guy, just in terms of just pure Saturday mornings. If I'm thinking right, because I feel like Bobby's World was on Fox. I feel like we had the Power Rangers. All that shit was on Fox, if I'm not mistaken.
well, Bobby's World and Power Rangers, they were both during the week. Maybe they had Bobby's World on the weekend too, but I do remember X-Men on Saturdays, and I believe Spider-Man might have been Fox.
Yep. Eek the Cat, possibly, Steve?
Possibly.
Throw an Eek the Cat in on top. Yeah, but Puck Named Scooby-Doo, I love the just clear, just across the board. Hey, we already have established properties. Make them kids. Like all of them. Muppet Babies, this, fucking, I'm gonna fucking...
Flintstone Kids.
Looney Tunes, all the, Tiny Toons. So, not a lot of creativity, but I guess that's just a cycle, Steve, because now they're just remaking shit. So, same thing.
Yeah, it never changes. In that following year, 92, Blossom is airing season 3, episode 2, Dear Mom. I think that's where Tupac got his inspiration. In Blossom's letter to her mother, she documents how she discovered Anthony having a drink following 2 years of sobriety.
Dear Mom, I'm banging some guy with the leather jacket. I forgot. First of all, shout out to me for just having this play and us figuring out that we needed to watch this. Pat on my back, but I forgot in terms of this show. One, this is a Blossom, dude. I didn't really think this was a show that I liked. I'm gonna go back. Like, this is a great show. First off, they got some solid shit I love, but I didn't realize there's a lot of heavy shit they cover in this, and I forgot. Like, I thought maybe it was a divorce thing. I just never questioned it, but I didn't know her mom was dead, and she's writing these letters to her mom, which is what's happening at the beginning of this.
Yeah, so I'm seeing this guy. He's really cute. He's like 15, 16. I don't know. He might be an adult, but he got a leather jacket, and he was on this Nickelodeon show about a year ago.
Dad doesn't like him too much. I love that, though. Like, she's like, yeah, Dad's sort of getting along with him. He's like stomping on fucking dude's feet and shit, just laughing at him. Fucking, what a dick, dude. Fucking Mr. Russo's a fucking, his fucking jerk off earring too. Come on, dude.
That really bothers me. I get it. You were a musician in the 80s and like party and rock and roll and shit. Bro, add another stud to the fucking other ear, bro. Like,
or just
even
take it out. I mean, you're teaching music now. You don't need to have that shit in, you know?
It's 92. That one earring shit is very Village People at this point. You don't get no bad. Unless your name is Michael Jeffrey Jordan, I'm sorry. Or Ed Bradley.
Yeah, if he had that big Michael Jordan fucking hoop earring, Steve, that's some next level. That's some George Michael shit.
That's a statement.
So, she's catching her mom up, and which is sweet. I love that. And then she moves on from Vinny. It's still going good. We hear the whole saga of Vinny. If we didn't get it last week, we get like some beginnings where it came from him we see Vinny throwing a little game on Blossom where he's like, I never fell for the smart chicks, which that's, I wish Matt had that kind of game back in high school. I got to give it to Ted from Hey Dude.
Yeah, they're doing homework because he's an idiot. He needs help with that and other things in life. But and that's how it started. Them doing homework together and basically him scribbling all the answers off of Blossom. And I want to give a shout out to Blossom's Jordan jersey. I had that exact same shirt. This was the crisscross era when they had the Jordan emblem on like baseball jerseys, and I had that same black one, man. So Mayim Bialik, you're very swaggy in this episode. And man, you want to kick this one off? I think this is when she talks about Joey and Above the Law.
Steve, because now she's got to move on. She's filling her mom in on everything. So another thing is the saga of Joey and this porno tape. So this is kind of secondhand, this is all just she kind of heard through the grapevine, but Joey got a porno tape in school. We've been there, Steve. This is us. This is, junior high us. We've been there. He hides it in a Steven Seagal Above the Law box, that's great. Great idea. Great idea, Joey, except when he rushes out of the fucking house, the goddamn porno tape falls out, which Steve, speaking from the perspective of a kid who remembers getting a porno tape, that would never happen. You hold on to that like a fucking that might as well have been handcuffed to his wrist. You know,
It's
you're not
top
gonna,
secret.
yeah, you ain't gonna lose it, but he does and leaves. But in
Whoa.
walks, yeah, then in walks Gramps, which he's just here. He's just looking to have, hang out, maybe have a couple of Skittles. But then he sees Above the Law, and I mean, the man's a film fan. He wants to just watch a new movie, so he's like, "Oh, fuck it, this new Steven Seagal guy. I've heard some things."
Give me a buzzy buzz.
So he sits down, pops in Above the Law, takes a couple of handfuls of Skittles, takes a couple of bites, and it seems like Joey had it at a spicy part because we get right to it. And Grandpa goes from eating one Skittle at a time to, I mean, he's eating handfuls, Steve. And we don't know how long Gramps watches Above the Law, but Blossom tells us in the letter that he ate about a pound of Skittles.
The intensity, Matt, the steam that emitted from the nostrils, his whiskers are melting. And this is just, I'm so glad. Shout out to Matthew Geddick for calling attention to this.
Dude.
I have not laughed this hard in so long. Thank you.
Acting, Steve. And just also, I gotta just say, from the perspective of a fat kid, if I walk into a house and the family on the coffee table has what I think is like 10 pounds of Skittles, I mean, that's fantastic. And a porno tape.
Is this a setup? It's like a bear trap.
Am I in heaven right now? I mean, what the fuck?
You're setting up a good time for me. And the way he's looking around, it's the intensity in the eyes for me. He is like, damn, get that shit. Yeah.
Hit it. Hit it. Ooh, cream pie. Fucking dude. Fucking
Grandpa Buzz.
Old man Grandpa Buzz, dude. He's got dirty old man disease.
Old wrinkly balls.
So Joey's down a porno tape and a lot of Skittles, as are the Russo family. But then we gotta go. It's gotta, all the fun stops, Steve, because now Blossom's gotta tell her mom about something that's not so fun. Turns out one night she can't sleep, possibly from eating too many Skittles because there's just an insane amount in the house. She goes downstairs, and on the day, it's actually Tony, her drug addict, troubled older brother's 2nd year anniversary of sobriety, Steve. So we do hear about it, but in this flashback, we see Tony come in, look around, looks kind of schemy, looks like he's about to sit down, but then he goes over to her cupboard, Steve, and pulls out a little bottle of Pop-Off and starts sniffing it.
some gas station vodka. Like, damn, bro, if you're gonna get back into dibbling and dabbling, bro, at least splurge a little bit more than this shit.
Well, my thing was like, as speaking from somebody who was like, well, if you got a kid in your house that has an alcohol problem, I thought it was the dad's. I was like, oh, well, I didn't think he hid it. But yeah, he's got this fucking like jail bottle of fucking liquor that he just has hidden. And he gives it a sniff. And Blossom's just standing there. In my eyes in this show, the way this family is, you'd think she'd step up and just be like, dude, what are you doing? Like stop him. But she can't, Steve. She's like stuck in place.
She's a little sibling. It's easier to snitch when you're the little sister, little brother. So that's kind of what she did. She wanted the people that she told to make a pact, Grandpa Buzz, Joey, and even her homegirl Six. Like, I'll never tell anybody. Yeah. Swear to God. And Grandpa Buzz, he's like, you need to just tell your dad.
Yeah, he gives the best advice. I mean, this guy's smart. Other than just being an opportunist and possibly a pervert, he does give her the best advice. Because she goes to Joey, which, what are you going to ask him for advice for? How to fuck a chick? Like, that's really it. That's all you get from that guy. But her grandfather's like, ask your dad. He's already gone through this because he's helped your brother get through this for 2 years. So just tell him that's what you need to do. So she does. Thank you, Grandpa Buzz. But Grandpa Buzz, I mean, he's He's just trying to get back to the house so he can watch Above the Law a second time, Steve. So I feel like, the advice was simple, it was to the point, and then he got out.
Yeah, he
Like,
just wants somebody to get out of his face.
I gotta
Yeah.
go watch this Seagal flick because this dude is just fucking slamming and he's jamming.
And I'm climaxing. And he's actually reading Above the Law, the book. He was so intrigued by Above the Law, the movie. And the movie is better than the book this time.
I bet the movie's better than the book, but she does go to dad. And this is crazy. This is a fucking crazy predicament to be in as a teenager. This is a teenager. I wouldn't want to have this discussion, but she does. She does the right thing. It's Blossom. My opinionation,
Dad doesn't want to believe
she doesn't.
And Dad doesn't want to believe it. That's his opinionation. He's like, he refuses to believe it. Like, no, after everything we've been through, no, can't be. Like, don't believe what you saw. Like, it was a dream. This didn't happen in real life. Stop lying to me, Blossom. Shut up. Go to your room.
You were drinking, bitch.
It was you, wasn't it?
Yeah. But she's like, whatever, Dad. You can believe me or not, but you might want to look in that cupboard. And also, like, speaking of, for like somebody who's had to like keep things from my parents as a kid, Tony, you're gonna build on a bottle of booze that you want to keep secret, and then you're just gonna keep it there. Like, that's in the living room, bruh. Fucking doing? How dumb are these people? But Dad goes in, he looks, and he's crushed, Steve. This is bad, Tony. You don't want to see bad fucking Tony.
Because it's two different Tonys.
Yeah.
There's Tony, and then there's Tony when he's using.
There's Tony on that shit, Steve.
And he doesn't feel safe when that Tony is in the house.
No, that's when the whores come in.
And Tony, he comes in and he sees that bottle on the TV. He's like, fuck.
Dude, that's also something where I'm sure it happened to you as a kid, not with a bottle of booze, but something where it's like you've done something bad. You walk into a room with the energy, you've gotten away with it. And then whatever that bad thing is like on the table and your like guardians are there. Like I walked in on George and Sonia with like maybe a bad report card I had, or maybe, I don't know, some cigarettes or something I shouldn't have had. And when you walk in, you're like, oh, hey guys. Oh, shit. That's Tony, Steve.
I was not prepared for this talk.
Yeah.
But Tony, on his toes, he's like, I needed something to wash down that birthday cake.
I like Tony's energy in this though, because I just have to say that he's hiding his alcohol, like relapsing and whatnot, but he owns up to it immediately. Like he does make that joke, but he's basically like, look, man, like I did it. I'm sorry. And the dad's like, well, what's the explanation? And he just kind of is just like lays it out. He's like, I fucked up. I don't know why I did it, but I did it. But I'm sober now. And his dad's like, well, that's very adult of you, but I don't trust you because you're Tony on that junk.
Yeah, and you gotta go. You gotta go, because not only are you relapsing, but your feet are on my damn couch. There's something about these characters on sitcoms where, like, this is so unrealistic. Tony just has his shoes on and they're just propped up on the couch where people sit their ass on. And like he does it later in this episode, spoiler alert, where he's at Grandpa Buzz's and his feet, everything with the shoes on, are in the bed. Like, nobody does this shit.
Dirty motherfucker, dude. What are you, Rick James, dude? You fuck?
From a trailer park? Are you a fucking insane clown posse person? Shit.
So Dad lays the fucking thunder down, which also it's like, I guess I get it, but I don't know. This family's close. I don't still understand the logic where you're like, oh, you're on it again? Fuck it. Go out in the world and just fucking drink yourself to death, Tony. Fuck you. It's like, do you really want that to happen? But Tony moves out. Dad's agitated. And at this point, we come back like after the fact that Tony moved out, and Dad's like, well, I don't like, even if I don't know where he's at. I don't fucking know where he's at. Like, even if I wanted to call him, like, he's worried. But we find out he's actually just staying with his grandfather. It's not like he's out on the street sucking dick to like pay the rent or anything. He just, trying to put the pieces back together, Steve.
And Grandpa Buzz is like, man, y'all need to figure this out because I'm trying to finish off this Steven Seagal binge watch.
Dude, I can't watch tapes. I got like I retired for privacy, and I got Tony in here fucking the spot up. Can you get this guy something? Like, get him to an AA meeting pronto because I'm in this scene where fucking Seagal's taking on three hot assassins, I guess, and
Yeah.
it's getting spicy. So,
And Vinny decides to step into family business. He's also on some forget about it. He's having a little compression. Just have a little compression. And just like, I think you meant compassion. And Joey's just like, no, he meant what he said. He said what he meant. But like, dude, Vinny, you need to shut up, bro. Just
yeah,
the episode
dude.
ago, her dad was gonna kill you, bro.
Also, your dad, you still in this episode see the dad still ain't feeling him. And speaking also, he not only is like, hey guys, maybe give Tony some slack at a time where you don't want to hear that. He's like, turns out I was an alcoholic too back in the day. And I used to be 2 years sober and I went off the wagon. They're like, wait, what? Hey, what?
This math ain't mathing right. So like, you were like a preteen and you had a drinking problem. This dude said he relapsed after 2 years and had a couple six packs. Like, bro, when I was a freshman in Bowling Green, 1 6-pack was all I needed.
I mean, damn,
Earl.
yeah, Vinny, what the fuck? But he worked on a dude ranch, Steve. We don't know what the fuck was going on fucking that shit. But I would have been like, anybody in that room, I would have slapped him. If I'm Joey, I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude.
This
Like,
shit don't concern you.
yeah, you're fucking my sister. We have to put up with that. But anyway, we find out Vinny's somehow a recovering alcoholic as a sophomore, whatever the fuck age he is. And
third time sixth grader.
But I guess he kind of gives the good advice. The dad needs to this is the second time in 2 episodes where the dad's overreacting to the point, and he just has to have somebody like slap him in the face, throw some cold water in his fucking face, and be like, dude, you're fucking up in this, so realize the fuck up and rectify the fuck up. So the grandpa can just have his own house and can keep busting to this tape that he's not giving back to Joey. Because it keeps being brought up, and Joey's like, hey, Gramps, can I get that tape back?
No,
no, Joey, no. Because I don't think you're ready to see fucking analingus.
And Dad, he tracks Tony down at Buzz's house, and Tony, like I said, his shoes are on the bed, and he basically comes clean. He's like, you know what, man, I overreacted. Yeah, you had a little sip. I need to give you benefit of the doubt because you did make it 2 years. That's an honor within itself. So, I'm gonna fall back and let this play out. Just like I need to fall back and see how my daughter picks her partners.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like this is the ideal, like Blossom shows us how you want all these situations to work out in the best way possible. Like this dad has in 2 episodes been like the greatest parent of all time. You know what I'm saying? And in like defense of Tony, he wasn't on like an alcoholic binge like some Nicolas Cage leaving Las Vegas shit where he's fucking a hooker, puking his guts out. He had a sip, and he's like, the dude's an EMT, so he's saving lives. Let's get, Tony, he deserves like a little slack. I don't know how sobriety works. I'm not sober, Steve, but like Tony says, one day at a time, Steve. He just has to start over again.
Something to take the edge off, man. He lives a unsafe life, man.
I mean, Tony, in my opinion, Nation, just get some weed, get a medical card, and then are you sober then? And then it's a medical thing, so then you're good.
You know who probably didn't watch this episode of Blossom in 1992, Matthew?
No, who?
Probably Kevin Gross of the Dodgers, as he tosses only 9th inning no-hitter of the season, a 2-0 win against who cares?
9 innings, Steve. He did them all, and he looks 40. Damn, he looks so old. I wonder how old that guy is in that picture right there, because he looks older than me and you, Steve. He looks like Nolan Ryan age, like a grandpa.
He's probably 20.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck was in the water? Why are these people looking like this?
But you know who probably didn't watch that episode of Blossom or see Kevin Grosso, the only no-hitter in the only season of blah, blah, blah?
Who, Steve?
Probably English wrestler Paige. She was born in 1992, and she is also the star of a leaked video that came out a couple years ago where she's just
No, Paige.
yes, Paige. Oh yeah.
Oh,
You
you
know,
said there's a Steven Seagal level take? Damn, I don't know
yeah.
Paige then. I didn't know who Paige was.
And she's got that Christina Ricci, like pale brunette kind of vibe. And man, after that little video, man, them cakes got added. I don't know if that's BBL action or if that's just getting fatter from getting fucked. But man, yeah, I'm sure it's still available on the Googles. She was the subject of that rock movie that came out a couple years ago. It's a
Oh
wrestling oriented
yeah, hell
movie.
yeah. It was like a
Fight with My
family
Family.
movie. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, because her mother was involved in the business in some way. I don't know if she was a wrestler too or what, but yeah, happy birthday to you, Paige. And yeah, I need to look at that video again as a reminder for studying purposes.
Steve
But that
don't
following year,
like Timmy movies. I'm an English wrestling woman. You trip on the bar. Did she have an English accent?
she does.
Oh, I'm horny. What the? This is bad, Steve. Paige,
Gonna
though.
make me watch it even more, man. But in 1993, 8 Ball and MJG released their debut album, Coming Out Hard. Hard, but coming out hard.
The intro to this almost fucking busted the goddamn speakers in my goddamn car, Steve.
So you listen to it.
I listened to it, so, like I went through it, yeah, for sure. Because I like 8 Ball and MGG, but I came onto them late and
In the
through like
2000s.
other people. Like I heard them on other people's shit, and then I at some point they got picked up by Bad Boy, I think, and they had a
That was around the
banger
time. Yeah.
on that fucking album. But 8 Ball and MJG, dude, fucking pimps,
Yeah,
Steve.
Mr. Big, Mr. Big. They call him Mr. Big, Mr. Big, Mr. Big, but not because of my size. Mr. Big, Mr. Big. They call him Mr. Big, Mr. Big, Mr. Big, but not because of my size. They are legends of the Memphis game, man. Memphis, like, they have their own kind of sound. Of course, the South in general has its own sound, but 8 Ball MJG, along with 3-6 Mafia, they've kind of created the modern Memphis feel of how Memphis rap is supposed to look and sound, man. So shout out to them. Also in 93, Joe releases Everything. This was his debut album. This isn't the one with I Want to Be a Player, but Joe, he's got that grown and sexy music that you've been recently listening to.
Yeah.
You might want to play some Everything by Joe. Shout out to Joe.
He's just like music
Never,
that like your mom, like people's moms fuck to, you know. But I didn't listen to this, but I do know Joe from other things too. Joe will get somebody in the mood. Whoever you want to be in the mood, it will happen if you put this on. So
Facts.
Joe.
Another debut in 93 was Scarface, The World Is Yours. And, you know, he was already famously known for his part in the Ghetto Boys, but this was his first foray into the solo world. And I'd say, man, this is, if not if not 5 mics, maybe 4.5, man. A lot of people consider him the king of the South, Mr. Bradley Jordan. But I don't know. We've had so many since then. He's definitely up there.
I mean, he's on the top 10. Mount Rushmore, I don't know, but Scarface has just been around forever now too. I listened to some of this. It's banging. I was never the biggest Scarface fan. He's again like a feature guy that I always like loved everything he was on, but this album had some bangers in it. There was a couple of hits on this one I listened to in the gym that I'd put on my list.
When this stuff was originally coming out, it always seemed like Scarface was for adults. Like I wasn't supposed to listen to it. Like it's funny though because I was listening to Snoop Dogg, who was very adult oriented, Dre
Yeah.
and NWA, but when it came to Scarface, I feel like maybe I don't understand because I'm a kid. Maybe like it was for my uncles and my dad and stuff. But in 1995, August 17th, the final episode of Yo MTV Raps airs on MTV. And I remember this because it was a who's who of rappers doing a final countdown freestyle. You had third base, you had Rakim, you had Redman, you had KRS-One, like the real MCs from that era, man. And what a way to go out, especially for a show that's rap oriented, man. Dr. Dre and Ed Lover, pioneers. They kind of brought hip hop to MTV because it was all pop and rock and pop. And really the only black faces on MTV were like Michael Jackson and Prince for a
Yeah.
while, and maybe some Whitney, maybe.
But as far as like hosts go, I mean, these guys were that. They were the only ones, and they actually they were huge for. I mean, they were even in a fucking movie together for fuck's sake.
Who's the man
So
with
they,
Dennis Leary?
Dr. Dre, maybe not the one we all know and love, or that you just immediately think of, but I love these two. I love this show. Like, I didn't have MTV until '93, so I only got 2 years of this. It's kind of crazy. It stopped in '95.
Right.
You
Like I
know?
don't understand why, because hip hop only got bigger as the decade progressed, man.
Yeah.
So shout out to Dr. Dre, Ed Lover, and Yo MTV Raps, man. You definitely made your mark. But in 1996, Kenan and Kel debuts on Nickelodeon. Kenan and Kel try to buy a car, but encounter difficulties while trying. Oh, there you go.
Dude, I forgot. Speaking of amazing thumping ass theme songs, Steve, that Coolio off the jump is on this fucking theme. It wasn't just a thing they did after the pilot. They got Coolio immediately. And this thing, right from the start, we know we're going to love this, Steve. The
And
theme
this is
song
scorching
made.
hot. Yeah.
Yes. It
Like Coolio fresh off of Gangsta's Paradise, like mid 90s Coolio, man.
hits.
What a dynamic duo. Kenan, he introduces the show, and I'm watching this, and it's like, dude, who would have thought that this is going to be the longest tenured SNL cast member? This kid who Mighty Ducks, Heavyweights, and other smaller projects, man, just like we're seeing it in the making. Like
I mean,
this
they
is
put a kid, like, I know this is a kid show, right? They're doing this in front of a live studio audience. They got him out there introing the fucking show and shit. It's crazy. And he's a little baby kid. It's little baby Keenan. It's
chubby
insane.
cheeks, baby
Yeah,
fat.
we grew up with this guy, and he's just been doing this consistently greatly since this, Steve. So whatever
Stayed
year
off the
this is,
pipe.
96.
96, man.
Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, you went secretly, like, through the decades, like, that guy, he's got to be on, like, the Mount Rushmore of comedy in general, just because of how long he's been in, like, the
The
gestalt of
pantheon.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. He's just been around for, it's crazy, man. And no assholishness, no scandals, no nothing, just solid, funny, killing it, getting better with age. It never like him in SNL. It's not like he's doing bad or was doing bad, dude. It's so fucking great.
It's like he's been conditioned his whole life, man, because like you said, this is live studio audience, and they're knocking it out the park. Like they're like adult professionals, even in all that, which is what they springboarded off of. And he introduces his cohort Kel, the master of fun, the king of cool, and the lord of love. And Kel comes out skating, rocking a top hat and a glittery Michael Jackson jacket.
Yeah.
I thought, I think popular opinion was that Kel was going to eventually be the breakout guy. Like,
Yeah, hell yeah. He was the one, like, for sure. Like, he was the one that I think Ed from Good Burger, like, he was always like the guy that was sort of more associated with it. But yeah, that didn't turn out to be the case. That's for sure. And I do got to say, Kel coming out looking like fucking Rod Roddy. I don't get that, but
come on down.
they got to get a car, Steve. So they intro it, and here we go. I forgot about that, dude. But yeah, man, Kenan and Kel, dude. And it's crazy also, like, this came from another show. Like, it just the hits kept coming. They were already killing it even before this. So,
Yeah.
so we cut. They're in the Kenan works in like a grocery store, I guess you'd call it, a corner store,
something like that.
bodega, and he wants a car. Steve, Kenan wants a car.
He's not old enough. He's only 15.
I mean, He's got a job. He's got a little bit of bread, but cars, even in the 90s, they don't come cheap. And I don't know why he wants a car this bad, other than, I didn't want a car this bad at 14 or whatever age he is. But he needs it, Steve. I think this is basically the beginning of Good Burger.
But on the bright side, though, he finds out that if you're a lucky owner of a Google Puff cereal, you could win $10,000 if you get the golden monkey. So they start emptying out boxes, and they go through 700 boxes.
I mean, do the math, Steve. I was trying to do this while I was watching it. Like, he wants to get a car, right? So I got to pay this much, whatever money he has. 700 boxes of cereal in the 90s. Let's say they cost $2 a box. And that's being conservative, because these seem to be some high-end cereals. They're not in a bag, so let's say $2 a box. 700 boxes. He put Chris in this fucking business $1,400 in the hole. It's going to get taken out of his check, Steve. How's he?
So he won't get paid.
Yeah, I mean, you would be fired. Like, there's a pile of fucking cereal everywhere in this goddamn store. Chris comes in. This dude's the biggest douchebag. Like, he's getting handled by kids, Steve. This is a business owner in whatever city this is. He walks into a goddamn building full of fucking unused, unedible cereal that he's on the bill for, and he's, kind of mad, but it's fine, because he finds a box with a stinky ass comic in it, Steve, because Kel's brought some shit just to maybe sell, like his trash box. I don't know what they think they're gonna buy with all this, or who's gonna buy it other than some like crackhead. But Chris finds some what were they? Skunkator. So this is an old comic, and you're thinking, oh, it's just an old comic. It's rare. It's rare because it's a scratch and sniff comic, Steve. I don't like that.
Yeah, and it's worth a lot of ducats, apparently, according to Chris. And Chris is like, look, man, you could get thousands of dollars for the Skunkator. They're just like, okay, bro, sure. I do kind of need some money for a car I'm trying to get, though. Like,
or all this cereal that you said I was on the bill for. And that's the other thing. Chris tells him he's going to have to pay for all this cereal, right? Or it's getting taken out of his check. But then he forgets all of it and is like, hey, I'll sell this comic book for you. It's worth a bunch of money. And they're like, okay, well, we'll split the money. I'd be like, no, I'm keeping all this. You can fucking eat all that cereal on the ground. But he's like, I'll give you, he takes like 5%, Steve.
But yeah, well, Chris, he's a naive fuck. And he's also Dan Schneider's friend. So what would you expect? He's just like, he could have fired him. And he shouldn't have told them that, like, hey, this is worth thousands. What you did is worth probably a little over 1,000.
At least
just took the comic. Yeah.
I would have been like, yeah, I'm taking that. I'm taking this weird fucking whatever's in this fucking box. All this dusty shit you got in here. You guys clean this up. I'm gonna go fucking hawk this stinky comic. So he's there. Kenan, great business guy. He G's this guy, an adult, into taking a 5% cut on something he's doing all the work for, which that's great. I applaud that. I love kids winning. This works. But Kenan now, he's thinking he's about to make like a fucking million, like whatever money he's going to make is going to, he can buy any car. He can buy all the cars, Steve.
Yeah. Once again, kids with the simplified mind, because we cut back to Kenan's house. He's typing up on his computer and he's just like, you know what, Kel? I figured it out. We'll just reach out to some people and they'll bring their car to us. Plan done. Nothing to see here.
I'm going to make a Craigslist post. Young child looking for car. Please bring to my house. Will pay any price. Send. So something of that nature. I think it said money isn't an option, but he's just like, hey, I'm buying cars. Money's not an option. Bring them to my address. Yeah. That ain't a good idea. Especially when you find out Ken Faree's his fucking dad. Ken Faree, very intimidating in this as a dad. But Ken Faree was in he was in fucking Devil's Rejects and shit. This guy's been in some crazy shit to be in Kenan and Kel. I didn't know he was in this.
He was in jail with James Belushi. Got to see James Belushi in a dress. He's seen some shit, man.
Yeah, he's stern. He's a stern dad. But Kenan's got to figure out a way. He's got a family. He's got a fucking nosy sister who's trying to fucking get him in trouble all the time. Knows he's looking for a car. So that's a bubble that's about to burst. But he has Kel over, and they somehow think of this great idea where at dinner, Kel excuses himself, Steve. Kenan's with his family. Kel calls the house from the kitchen that's separate and fakes these adults. Again, these kids are masterminds, Steve. Fakes them into thinking they won 3 tickets to the circus tomorrow, right when all these cars are coming to the house.
From a very simple question. Yeah, you're the first caller. What time is it?
What?
It's 7:43. It's 7:43. We got the tickets.
Also, Steve, what happens when they get to the circus? You know what I'm saying? Like, they go to the circus, right? What happens when you get there? They're like, where's our free tickets at? You know?
Clearly they paid because they went. And I liked, here's the thing we skipped over. When Kenan is talking about how he got to the principal's office, he was like, all right, so we had a substitute teacher. I sort of, on accident, kind of glued her butt to the chair. And and he talked about the circus tickets earlier in the episode because it was like, man, all we got was some bullshit, some removal tattoos, and some circus tickets. And so when his family wins the circus tickets, he was like, "Tickets to the circus? Oh, okay."
I love his face while he's like, that's happening. He's like, okay, all right. Is he eating a meatball, fucking like chugging, meatball like a lollipop?
Huge ass meatball. It's like, okay.
I mean, I look like a tasty meatball, Steve. I gotta be honest with you. So cut to next day, Steve. Parents are out of the house. They're going to the circus, even though, it is what it is. And now it's people start showing up. Guy shows up. He's here. Kenan invites him into the house. Again, this behavior is crazy because you're just inviting internet creeps to your house. This could have been a whole other thing.
They haven't watched that episode of Smart Guy.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
hasn't came out yet. Yeah.
Well, luckily these people do want to just sell cars. But the one thing that Kenan didn't think of is that, put an ad out, say you're unlimited money, unlimited people are going to show up. So soon one guy shows up, 2 guys show up. Soon he's got a fucking like high school class worth of people trying to sell a fucking old car to this dude. And
for
he's
$10 million.
He's waiting for the money. He's like, look, guys, everybody chill out. I'm going to have fucking at least $10 million off of these skunk comics. So just chill out. I'd be freaking out that my parents are going to come home, but he seems pretty chill at the moment. They're just waiting for Chris.
Or one of these adults that I completely do not know would steal something from my house or try to kill me and my friend. That part.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a rusty Volvo they're trying to pawn off for $1 million because money isn't an issue. That's what you said.
Yeah, come look into this Alero I got. It's out here. Let me just get in there.
Stupid fucking kid.
You're kidnapped. Anywho, so Chris finally shows up with the bread. But instead of bread, what he shows up with is an excuse, Steve. Because lo and behold, these scratch and sniff comics, they would have been worth something. But when he actually tried to pawn them off, he apparently went into some sort of schizo mode where he went to scratch and sniff and these motherfuckers like a goddamn, exactly. He scratched it all away, Steve. He made him useless. Probably busted all over him. Yeah, dude, I don't like that.
Dan Schneider wrote that line, by the way.
Yeah,
that has Dan Schneider written all over it.
I was like, feet. So, house full of people with a car they want to sell. Chris has no money, no comics. And then fucking goddamn Kenan's dad and family come back fresh from the circus. The jig's up, Steve. It's over. No money, no car, and you're grounded possibly for the rest of your life. Or you might be killed from Ken Faree because that guy's very intense.
And why are you ringing the doorbell to your own home? I don't get that part either. But we find out later in the deli that he even grounded Kel, and he ain't even their son.
No, hell no. But, that didn't go well. But, they didn't get molested. They didn't get murdered. The house is still there. everything's okay. Working back at Chris's, and you think the plan's done. What more could happen? He learned his lesson, but no, some fucking white dude comes in looking like Zach Morris, little broke
Preppy.
ass Zach Morris, Wish.com version, and it's something where it's like, is this destiny? Because this guy comes in, he's like, look, man, my grandma's, she's got to go into a home. I got this car, it's worth like $10,000. Well, how much money you got? And Keen's like, I got like 400, but I only got 2 on me. And the guy's like, look, I'll take the car. Here's some keys. I'll key it out. We'll figure it out. Leaves. Keenan's like, dude, I got a car, dude. And I wrote on my thing, I was like, this motherfucker, this is a stolen vehicle. And sure enough, Steve, as soon as he gets the keys and the guy leaves, the cops show up. And the shit's hot.
Yeah, and it's in a no parking zone. So what the fuck do they do now? Him and the officer have a one-on-one. He's like, look, man, you did say he's coming back to the store tomorrow. All right. Well, I could probably get you your money back too. So this is what we're going to do. The code is the chipmunk has pneumonia. Once you make that transaction, just say that. The chipmunk has pneumonia. So skip the next day. The guy comes back. They make the transaction. And Kenan is wired, but he can't remember the code. The chimp has a banana. The chicken has a fever. The choo-choo has a monkey fish. The cricket has a petunia.
God damn it. And the guy's like, why are you saying this? I gotta go. Hold on. And I love any of these things, because when a cop's on, like, there's this situation with The Wire and cops listening. Cops, you're listening. They're like, what? He's not saying the code word. It's like, motherfucker, do your job. You know what the fuck you got some kids wearing a wire. I don't know what even the legality of this is for a $400 car.
I watched that episode of Family Matters where Urkel does that.
Yeah. I mean, but eventually they'd figure it out. They say the goddamn chipmunk has pneumonia. The cops come in. Guy gets arrested. And then Kenan's dad shows up again because this motherfucker's all over his ass and finds
the whole fam.
The goddamn shit. He's still trying to get a car. And at this point, I mean, you're going to get beaten. Something's going to happen. And, I got to say, Kenan, for a dude with a dad as stern as that, like, my parents were pushovers. This guy, I would not be fucking stepping a foot out of line ever, because I'd be like, he's going to strangle me to death. This guy's going to kill me.
George LaRive, he will strangle you to death.
I mean, but I would have to push. This motherfucker's, he's already wired to be pissed off. They're eating dinner and he's like, man, what the fuck? What'd you just say? Give me that meatball, bitch. He's
one twitch away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kenan and Kel, Steve, this was getting close to the time where I was trying to be an adult, but even this was pulling me back. I guess you could call it a kid show, but it's just fucking fun, man. It's a good sitcom.
Yeah. Yeah, they held it down for a pilot episode. But that same year, Gotti premieres on HBO. John Gotti rises to head in the powerful Gambino crime family before being convicted in 1992 of racketeering and murder, directed by Robert O'Harmon, Armand Assante, Anthony Quinn, Vincent Pastore, William Foreskin, and I just always want to say William Foreskin. I'm childish, but we didn't talk about him enough in the Dick Tracy episode because he was flat top and he's got a very distinctive look. William Forsythe, he did his thing in the 90s, man.
Yeah, he was like a great, I guess you'd call him a character actor. I don't know. He's just like that guy that was just he's good at playing a villain. For a while, he was just playing like cops too. Like he was just like, I guess you would call him a character actor. I liked him better when he was like the asshole. He was like a good villain and shit. I remember he was I hate to keep bringing Devil's Rejects up, but he was in that and he played a crazy fucking cop in that. He's in a couple Martin Lawrence movies too, I believe. At least one. I think he was in Blue Streak.
And he's also in this. He plays Sammy Gravano, and as you would imagine, he pretty villainous. And
Sammy the Bull.
Yeah, and this is available on YouTube, man. Here's a cheat code for the children. Any of the original HBO movies that aren't on Max, more than likely going to be on YouTube. You're welcome.
This is a Gotti movie that actually is good. I think Travolta made
Yeah,
one recently that's ass, but this one,
yeah.
it is the Teflon Don. People love this motherfucker. It's a mob movie. I like mob. I'm a Casino guy. I'm a Goodfellas guy, but I think this is probably, as far as Gotti movies go, this is probably it. You know.
This is it. And Asante actually won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a miniseries or special. He also received a nomination for the Golden Globe that year. And Michael Franzese, who was a former capo of the Colombo family, he said that this is probably the most accurate mobster movie he's seen. And I mean, he's got the credentials to weigh an option, to weigh an opinion, man. Some of the future Sopranos players are actually in this.
Yeah.
Vincent Pastore, Tony Sirico, Dominic Chianese, or however you pronounce it. But they like their work so much. That's what got them their roles in Sopranos, man. Um, Armand Asante, he held it the fuck down. I was entertained throughout this. Just the story of what we knew of John Gotti. It's interesting, man.
I mean, the motherfucker was captivating, and I mean, It's cool when it's a real dude. He was just unabashedly like a criminal out in the middle. The anti Goomba thing to do. He was the thing that like in Goodfellas, when De Niro's like low profile, he didn't live like that. He was just out there, and everybody knew it, and still loved the dude, even though he was a fucking crazy lunatic criminal. I just love now how like all these Goombas and like all these fucking like old gangsters, like now they have podcasts, Steve. Like I think Sammy the Bull has a fucking podcast and shit. So it's just like, what the
Like, shouldn't
fuck?
you be hiding?
Yeah, people are looking for you, but no. I did, but I remember this, and like this was one of those things that like outlived HBO. Like it was in like on the like the rental shelves and shit too. Like you could rent
Yeah.
this, and Armando Santi he's a beast, dude. Shout out to him in Demolition Man too. He's always just a great fucking like over the top villain guy.
Shout out. That following year, 97, 12 Angry Men premieres on Showtime. 12 men must decide the fate of one when one juror objects to the jury's decision. Directed by William Friedkin, starring Courtney B. Vance, Ozzie Davis, George C. Scott, Armin Mueller-Stahl, Dorian Harewood, James Gandolfini, Tony Danza, Jack Lemmon, Hume Cronin, McKelty Williamson, Edward James Olmos, and William Peterson.
Damn. Showtime paying the big fucking bucks.
Yeah. And it's basically verbatim of the original because I watched this on Tubi. It's available on Tubi, and right after that, they'll play you the black and white one with Jack Klugman. And Jack Lemmon, he was actually nominated for a Golden Globe for his performance, but he lost to Ving Rhames that year. I think for Rosewood, maybe. I think that's what Ving
Oh
Rhames won
shit.
for.
Okay.
Yeah. But Dorian Harewood, he was the brother that was Tuboku in
Oh,
Full
Full
Metal
Metal
Jacket.
Jacket. I ain't too
Yeah, he's
goddamn buku. Damn
yeah,
it.
the brother just behind me on my shoulder, man. McKelty Williamson, of course, is Bubba Gump. James Gandolfini, Mr. Tony Soprano. So it's got some hitters. Ozzie Davis. R.I.P. to a lot of these legends. George
Oh
C.
yeah.
Scott, again.
Well, I think William Friedkin actually didn't he direct the first Exorcist?
He did.
So damn, I guess they were to get him and George C. Scott must have really liked working together, but that's crazy. This movie, I don't know. I never checked it out because it's probably a hitter though, Steve. I mean, it's probably pretty good.
If you like the original, man, it's basically a more modern version because as you could see, they added color to the cast. 12
Yeah.
Angry Men, the original was all white guys. This time around, they got Bubba Gump, they got brother Tubuku and Ozzie Davis from all the Spike Lee shit, and
I
it's
just
overall
love you
better.
calling him Tubuku. I
That's
love
the only
that.
other.
Yo, man, you Tubuku. He's like, I love. What if he walked around the street having people call him that?
So brother Tubuku.
Dude,
But it wasn't bad, man. I mean, the performers are
hitters, dude.
legendary, man. Yeah, But that same year, Subway Stories, Tales from the Underground premieres on HBO. The actual experiences of New York City subway riders are dramatized in a collection of 10 intriguing and very different vignettes. And it's got different directors: Ted Demme, Jonathan Demme, Bob Baladan, Patricia Benoit, Julie Dash, starring Dennis Leary, Christine Lottie, N. Bush Wright, Steve Zahn, Jerry Stiller, Bonnie Hunt, Michael Rappaport, Sam Rockwell, Rosie Perez, Terrell Hicks, Nicole Ari Parker, Gregory Hines, KRS-One, and Hayes.
It sounds interesting though. I never heard of this where it's just like vignette. I like that. I like this idea.
It was clever, man, and it started off as a contest HBO was holding for New Yorkers to submit interesting true stories from their experience being on the train. And it's done in a very kids in the hall kind of way, where or Mr. Show, if you will, where they're separate stories, but sometimes one could lead into another. Um, Spike Lee actually he wrote and directed a segment that was cut, and it was titled "Niggericans." And I imagine, I can only imagine why it didn't make the final cut. But
Damn.
it's still an entertaining movie. I didn't get bored because the stories change intermittently, man. And once again, available on YouTube.
I love movies like that. There was a movie called Four Rooms, that Quentin Tarantino was in and stuff. That was like I think it was in the '90s, but where it is vignettes and stuff where you do get like a different story, a different directors working together and stuff. I love that shit. I'm gonna have to check this one out.
That same year, ECW is airing Hardcore Heaven 97 from the War Memorial Auditorium at Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I think you might appreciate this one, though. Overall, it's not as good as the other ECW we recently covered, but you get some Rick Rude, you get some ICP, and they play a part in this because in the pre-show, ICP they are basically co-signing RVD, like he's our guy. We fuck with Rob Van Dam, yeah. And when they turn their back, Rob Van Dam beats the fuck out of him, and Sabu comes in, beats the shit out of like they beat the shit out of ICP. Sandman comes into play, and he's trying to defend ICP. They beat the fuck out of Sandman so bad to the point where the ambulance pick him up. And throughout this event, he basically hijacks the ambulance, and they're doing like a OJ kind of story where he's like they're following the ambulance. He's like, well, we saw him stop at the gas station and get some cigarettes and ice cold beverage. We can't make out what it is. So by the end, towards the
He's
main
at a
event,
kendo stick store. He's at a kendo stick store.
by the time we get to the main event, which is a three-way between Shane Douglas, Sabu, and Terry Funk, finally Sandman returns. He made it just in time, and this
Thank
leads to an
God.
all-out melee. Everyone comes out. They bring out the kitchen sink. And the Dudley Boys, they have a match against PG-13. I know you would appreciate that. And yeah, it's good old Wolfie D and Ice-T, whatever the fuck his name was. But they come out with Jenna Jameson, the Dudley Boys do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she is just very Jenna, very Jenna.
This is Jenna at the height. This
At
is
a
it.
height, man. Something very cool about the Tommy Dreamer and Jerry Lawler match. The lights turn off, they come on, and Rick Rude shows up. He beats the fuck out of Tommy Dreamer till he gets escorted out. Later in the match, lights go off again. It's Jake the Snake. And he's fucking looking beer gutted the fuck out. This is pre-DDP yoga, but we're just happy to see Jake. And he gives a crispy DDT to Tommy Dreamer. He does his thing, and then the lights go out again. Sunny pops up, and she's coming to fucking spray some shit into Tommy Dreamer's face. It accidentally gets sprayed into Jerry Lawler's face. Dreamer gets the win. Cat fight between Sunny and Beulah McGillicuddy. Rob Van Dam went out. The best match though was Bam Bam Bigelow against Spike Dudley, because it's basically Bam Bam just beating the fuck out of Spike Dudley. He's throwing him into the crowd. He's doing that thing, the gorilla toss. He's doing some cartwheels. He's doing somersaults with his big ass off the top rope. And another unsung hero, man. I'm glad they made a dark side of the ring on him.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what Spike Dudley was used for, is just like a beating, dummy. They would just toss him around and shit. That's crazy. Bam Bam Bigelow. What's the weight class differential on that?
Oh, super lightweights
Fuck
are heavy
away,
as fuck.
fuck away class. Yeah, I need to watch that Bam Bam Dark Side though, because I definitely wanted to check that shit out. Do they talk about Luna Vachon a lot?
She wasn't a part of that. No, yeah, I don't think they were around each other long enough because it's not
Really?
like they were actually together. Like that was just storyline shit. But
Okay.
he was a hero, man. They do talk about how he famously saved some kids from a burning building. But
Bam
like,
Bam?
there's a
Is that
lot
why he
of
had flames on his shit?
this was later, I believe, towards the end of his life, man. But dude,
Damn.
Hardcore Heaven, 97, man. Check that out. Obviously available on Peacock, but also a 97. Behind the Music debuts on VH1. I got a lot of backwards information from guys that came and went before I was born. I learned a lot from this show, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't always people I like, but it was cool. Like, there was always like a David Crosby or somebody that I didn't give a fuck about because this was VH1. But yeah, and they played mute. Didn't they play music too on it, or was it just literally like the backstories? Because I
It's
felt
just
like,
a docu-series.
yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of something
But
else.
maybe you're thinking Pop-Up Video. That was also
Maybe.
on VH1.
Yeah,
But
VH1 was trying. They were trying to throw some shit out here.
it had me watching, man. I didn't give a fuck about who was it, Def Leppard, until I watched their story, and I was like, damn, they had a drummer with one arm. That's impressive.
Oh
But
yeah.
pop trivia question: who was the first episode covering?
Behind the Music VH1.
You probably never get it.
No, hell no. Who is it, Steve? What lame shit is it?
Millie Vanilli was the very
What?
first episode. Yes.
Millie. What? Like, damn. That's a weird one. This was it all about the scandal?
Well, at the time, the first guy who died, he was already gone by that time. So, they just went through hard times. And I believe a big part of it is about the scandal.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
behind the music, man. You want to hear some of these fucked up stories? I didn't expect Millie Vanilli to be the first one. I thought maybe more of a classic, like somebody from the '80s, maybe a hair metal band. But I remember, all VH1 was sort of the side joint. As a kid in the
Yeah.
'90s, we didn't want to be watching VH1 that much, but this is what brought us in. That pop-up music, I like that. I like some fun facts.
In that following year, 98, Judge Mills Lane debuts in syndication. And it looks like it's done by the same people who do Judge Judy and Judge Mathis, because
Of
just from
course.
the animation style of the intro, um, shout
Get
out to
it
Judge
on.
Mills.
I love that they gave this guy, he's a boxing ref. Like,
Nah,
he's a judge, Steve.
he passed the bar, dude. He like shout out to
What?
Judge Mills. Yeah, dude. Like around the time he started his refereeing career, he actually passed the bar in Las Vegas, man. So like, it's not like how they're doing with Steve Harvey, like Judge Harvey. Like, yeah, let's give him a show, put a robe on him. Like, no, dude was actually he did his business in Vegas. He would referee some shit and he would oversee some cases. So like, you're a
I guess you
boss.
respect that, though. He's telling Mike Tyson to get in the corner. He'll fucking tell you if you have to pay child support, I guess, or whatever. Judge
At the
Mills
same
Lane.
time.
He was
And
a no
catch me on
nonsense
Celebrity
guy. He would fucking
Deathmatch.
say some shit. I remember this. I don't think he had the snap that Mills Lane did, or not, Joe Brown, or like
Mathis.
Mathis, but Mills Lane was just like he was the host of, like, on Celebrity Deathmatch. People love this guy.
Exactly. He was collecting them checks in the late 90s, man. It's somebody who probably wasn't privy to any of this shit because he had too much going on. It's probably Bill Clinton in 98 because he finally admits that he did have sexual relations with that woman.
I'm not going to tell you what I did with that cigar.
I
did
misled
not.
people. She pulled my pud.
I was a naughty boy. I was a very naughty boy, and I need spanked. Yeah, but this is what I love, Steve. I mean, the Clintons, they have a lot of other shit on behind their name, and they're criminals and blah 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 blah. But the political scandal of our era is a guy getting his dick sucked, and I love that.
I do like that.
You know, I feel I
Simpler
don't
times.
I don't like politicians, but if that's the worst thing we got to worry about, that we're always like this was on CNN and shit. This guy's talking about busting onto some chick, and we're little kids laughing about it because Dana Carvey or Daryl Hammond's talking about it. So, uh, shame on you, Bill Clinton, but it's just bizarre because now it's like world-ending political domination, civil war. 90s guy getting his dick sucked and busting on a dress, you know?
Simpler times. I miss.
Quaint.
But quaint times yield. 1999, Ludacris releases Incognito, which was his official debut studio album. He recycled majority of this and would release it that following year in 2000 for Back for the First Time. And man, I'm so glad he dropped this in 99 because we could talk about some Luda.
Hell
a little
yeah.
bit of Luda.
I mean, you and I were both just blaring this in our cars. Not this. I mean, Back for the First Time. Incognito, I wasn't clued in on the Ludacris until Back for the First Time, Steve. But we love some Ludacris. We've seen him live.
Matt, I double checked both tracking lists. They're identical. Maybe they rearranged the order, but it's missing maybe 2 songs. It's literally the same album, man.
It's a burner though. If that's the case, a burner. Like this.
Yeah.
I mean, Ludacris for at least 5 years straight, like in my from 17 or 18 on, whenever I first found out about him. I mean, he was putting out hits, man. Like this dude was at the top of the fucking charts forever, and I used to love me some. He used to be my favorite rapper. I feel like
before Lil Wayne, like, because in the 2000s it was like a shift. When a rapper put out an album, you had to have a Luda feature, it seemed, and then it became Lil Wayne. When Lil Wayne took over, it was like, no, I gotta have a Wayne feature. But there was a time when it was like Nate Dogg and Luda, Nate Dogg. You might be lucky if you got both on your album.
Luda and Nate Dogg, Steve. The perfect storm. And I will say something about Ludacris that like you can't say about a lot of like, especially now. Like you can say a lot of rap sounds the same, blah, blah, blah. This dude's voice and the way he rapped and shit, it was like there's nobody that's gonna sound like this dude.
At all.
So and he put on a hell of a show when we saw him. I heard him put on a hell of a show. I wasn't there when he was doing the opening for Janet recently. And I mean, he just skyrocketed, dude. This dude's a fucking success. When even on Cribs, I wanted Luda's house, Steve. He had the dude's a success. What can you say?
One of the few rappers to host SNL. He shares that secret, not secret, but exclusive group with the MC Hammer, Drake, Snoop, the guy from Chicago I don't care for. What's his name? With the 3 on his hat. I think he's whack. But no, man, you got to listen to acid rap. I'm like, no, I don't. I've heard enough. You know who I'm talking about. They brought that asshole back like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, I don't get it.
But like, I just never expected him. He just jumped into acting, and like, dude was in wasn't he in that movie Crash or whatever?
He was.
And that was like an Oscar winner. Like he started off like just killing it in that too. So shout out, dude. Ludacris Bridges, Steve.
Chris Bridges, and that was the same year Hustle and Flow, which he was also in, man. So
yeah, dude.
You know,
bam, 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 bam. Dude, Hustle and Flow. I don't want to. It's not the best. That's not the best interpretation. He was even in. He was in Fast and Furious. Am I right? I'm not racist, right? He's in it. Yeah.
He's been several in them. Like, I don't know how many at this point, but they got like 50 of them hoes. He's been in
Get
like
that
most
money,
of them.
Luda. Get it.
Yeah. Somebody who probably didn't listen to Incognito in 1999 is probably Yanni, because he was still in the sky. More like Still Your Bitch.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yanni and Luda in 99 both getting the same amount of puss. Yanni might have topped off Luda, honestly. He was getting that old school. He had the numbers from back in the Dizzy, Steve.
And
dude, what the fuck vibe is Yanni on? Like, look at this album cover, Steve.
Peter Frampton, Pink Floyd. I don't know.
Is he on the moon or is he in the he's in the desert at night as Yanni, Steve, just by himself looking for puss.
That's where he steals the sky. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways?
Shit, I want to give a fucking shout out to Yanni. Honestly, I want to get on that level, but um, I no, I don't really have any shout outs. I didn't really do a lot of '90s related shit 'cause I've been a busy adulting. But gotta say, Steve, as a 40-year-old man, I watched it's from the '90s. I'm just gonna say Child's Play. I watched that. And I gotta say, even a movie like that, okay, let's go back to Child's Play as a kid. That movie seems like weird and like funny and stuff, but it's better than a lot of trash that we see now. And it's like that's what I'm saying. The quality of movies back in the day, it's just so memorable. Like I don't know what we've tapped into in the '90s, but there was something that maybe it's just because it's our thing and people in the '70s said the same thing. But we've been watching so much of this stuff and even Blossom and stuff. When you go back and watch it and then watch new shit, it's funny to me that these things that I like brushed aside and was like, you watch it again, it was like, actually, this is pretty fucking good. I never expected to be like a Blossom fan, but I gotta say, man, especially after the episode we watched today with the grandpa and the porno and all that, like I'm a fan. Dude, just bust. And also, I hope to have a bowl of Skittles that big someday in my house. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that.
One day.
But what about you, man?
Man, well, in '98, WCW Nitro, they're airing out of Hartford, Connecticut. They're encroaching Vince's territory, and this is the episode where Warrior makes his appearance. In the past, you defeated giants and myths and legends, but you never defeated a warrior. And this rant goes on for 20 plus minutes. I feel like I didn't clock it, but it just seemed like forever and a day he was on the mic. And Hogan is just like, and I think he's getting like booed at some point because this shit is drawing the fuck out. Like people are excited to see Warrior because he's in WCW. This has never happened, but it's like, man, he's going on a Warrior rant, and they can get convoluted. And he even shout out to Disciple. He was like, "Who is this guy? Your barber?" And then Hogan.
Okay, that's good though. I like that.
That's a little deep cut. And then Hogan, he does a little side when he says that, he just like looks to the side like
I love Warrior all fucking methed out saying that. Shout out Warrior. Yeah. But Warrior and WCW, dude, like I never enjoyed that. That's one thing I didn't catch. I didn't enjoy it at all. OWN or whatever it was.
It was stupid.
Come on.
Glad it was short-lived. This is around the time when Tony starts like kind of like openly shitting on WWF when he's throwing in his little zingers like, over here we're going to give you more than 10 seconds in our main event, unlike you might see on some of those other channels where and he says this like twice. We'll give you more than 12 seconds, unlike those other places and federations. And Ming, I love this is when Ming is going crazy in matches that have nothing to do with him. He just comes in and starts giving the Tonga death grip, and at one point one of the guys maces him and he's just like and then he gives him the Tonga. Don't fuck with me.
Ming's just out. I love Ming's just a psychotic Samoan guy. It's like, this guy's out of control. He's choking people. It's like, arrest this motherfucker. He's a problem.
I'm here for it. And over in WWF territory, they're in Des Moines. Bart Gunn, he cleans Godfather's clock in this brawl for all. And what a failure this was. I didn't like seeing Godfather because it was like a Mike Tyson's punch out. Bart Gunn gave him a fucking haymaker. And
no, dude, you can't do that. Why would they do that? I get like you want to tap into that market and shit, but it was like a bad fucking idea. It's just a bad product.
They didn't think it through, man. This is also the debut of Gangrel on Monday Night Raw. He made his official debut the previous night on Sunday Night Heat, and I always liked his intro with when he came out with Edge and Christian. they had the Brood going, and DX, they have a street fight with Nation of Domination. Shit gets cray in a crazy way as they head out for SummerSlam. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister I'm Mr. Big, Mr. Big. They call me Mr. Big, Mr. Big, Mr. Big, but not because of my size. Please check out Food Fanatics any day, every day. Our homeboy Councilman Clark, if you will, on YouTube's, and Crushgasm on Wednesdays. This is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, motherfucker, I eat everything. I eat the pussy, I eat the butt, I eat every motherfucking thing.